So good afternoon and welcome to the 2022 Mina Swaminathan Media Fellowship Program. We are glad to have many of you here and also several who have joined us online, in fact from several time zones as well. So we have Dr. G.N. Hariharan, who's the Executive Director of MSSRF, seated at the dais, along with Mr. Paneer Selvam, who is with the Roja Muthiah Library there, and also Dr. Rangalakshmi, who is the Director of Ecotechnology at MSSRF. First, we'll invite Dr. G.N. Hariharan, Executive Director, MS Swaminathan Research Foundation, to give the formal welcome address. Dr. Hariharan.
Thank you, Sangeeta. Guru, can you please show us the... Yeah, nice to see participants online. It's my pleasure and privilege to welcome you all to this important meeting, Mina Swaminathan Media Fellowship 2022. We have a very good schedule, and you will be listening the top-notch people, especially, I take this opportunity to welcome Dr. Paneer Selvam, who is now with the Center for Study in Public Sphere, Roja Muthiah Library, Research Library. And earlier he was with the Hindu. We have seen your columns, sir. We welcome you with pleasure to the foundation. And to really give the special address, we have Dr. Arvinda Padi, IAS, Principal Secretary, Government of Agriculture and Food Production, Government of Odisha. Sir, yes, I know how much you are tight today with respect to various schedules. Amidst of all these things, you have taken time to join us and grace this occasion. Thank you very much for joining. And I also take this opportunity to welcome, and we are very eager to listen to you as well. We have Professor Nitya Rao, Professor of Gender and Development, University of East Anglia, and more so, she is our trustee. So welcome you, Dr. Nitya, to this important meeting. We are also very eager to listen to you as well. We have Dr. Murali Shanmughavelan, who was my earlier worked with us and currently faculty fellow, Race and Technology, Data and Society, NYC. Dr. Murali, I welcome you to this important meeting. Along with us is Dr. Nalini Krishnan, Founder, Director, REACH, and Ms. Anupama Srinivasan, Assistant Director of REACH, also joining us today. And I hope Ms. Anupama will join us shortly here. Yes. Oh, you have joined online. Sorry. Thank you very much for joining, and we are very much eager to listen to all you, madam. Along with us, the media fellows will also be, giving their, presentations today. Ms. Dharani is already here. No? If she is here, okay, okay. Ranga informed me that Dharani will be coming here. Amongst the audience here, we have Mr. Gopal from Vabag. Thank you very much for joining us here today, sir. And all our field centers and other, people are also joining online. So I take this opportunity to tell a very good afternoon as well as good morning to those who are joining from UK. With this, I welcome you all once again. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Let us sit and listen to the key people. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Hariharan. We'll now have Dr. Rangalakshmi, who's the Director of Ecotech Technology, who will give us a brief about the fellowship.
Okay. Good afternoon and good morning, everyone. This is the second year of Mina Swaminathan Media Fellowship on Gender and Development. And the theme for this second year is Gender Transformative Approaches in Sustainable Food Systems. Last year, we had on COVID and food system. That was the major theme. And this year, being part of the HLP, that is a Committee on World Food Systems, they have been brought out policies to improve the sustainability element in the food systems. And also they have given a kind of a core principles in which gender equality, women and child empowerment, the two things are interconnected. So with that objective, we thought we can align our theme for the media fellows on gender transformative approaches in sustainable food systems. So the core objective of this fellowship is to nurture and exchange ideas between the researchers and the media, journalists, for a greater partnership, so that the scientific aspects which are undergoing in the sustainable food systems can be captured, and the young media fellows will be using that lens in their further course of professional work. And the second objective is to create and report forward-looking and solution-oriented stories, bringing the ground-level realities from the gender and the intersectional lens point of view. So with that two objectives, we initiated the fellowship, and this fellowship is given to 3 media people, and Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Orissa, these 3 states were under part of the program. And it was started in December, the second media fellowship program. And now we are ending this. And next year we are joining the 3rd program. And for this year, 3 fellows we have selected. A rigorous process has been followed. From Tamil Nadu, Ms. Dharini Balasubramanian, and from Kerala, Neenu Mohan, and for Orissa, Mr. Gyanchand Jagannath. And this fellowship have a kind of a good mentoring team to support the fellows, how they should capture the development stories, and how they should get along with other issues which is going on in the sustainable food systems or any other developmental issues in that context. These are all the team members, that is mentoring team: Professor Nitya, Dr. Nalini Krishnan, and Anupama Srinivasan, Murali Shanmugavelan, and Paneerselvam sir. And apart from that, field level, to facilitate the program in our context, we have specific team members: Velvili Oliver and myself for Tamil Nadu, and Shakila for Wayanad, and Hussain, Dr. Hussain for Orissa. And the program started with a brief orientation. The expectation session was conducted from the media journalist point of view. What were their expectation from this fellowship program? And we aligned their interest as well as the objective of this fellowship. Then the global policies, because these fellows, they have to expose to the global policies, and they should relate those policies into the local context, how it is being operationalized, what are the challenges they are facing. Those things needs to be brought in. So to give a kind of an overview, the global policies and sustainable food system and gender transformative approaches. Then ethics in reporting. Basically, this as an young journalist, they have to learn and practice it in the field, especially from gender inclusive and responsive reporting point of view. Then to give a kind of a nuanced understanding, they have to understand the nexus between caste, gender, and technology. So from that perspective also the orientation was given. Then finally, how to pitch a story. So in that perspective, the initial orientation was given. Subsequently, we interacted with the fellows in different field sites, the mentors, I mean, MSSRF field staff, they interacted with them and guided them in identifying the themes or how to go about it in the field, facilitating the field interactions. Then also online interactions over phone and mail also we carried out during the process. And the expectation from this fellowship is 3 different outputs, basically 2 well-researched articles on the theme. Second one is the small insight brief, we call it as, not policy brief, and sharing the learning in a consultation or conference. Last year, it was aligned with our annual consultation itself. So this year we have a separate webinar. And this year, the media stories from Kerala, 2 stories focusing on promoting healthy foods and local value chain development. Then malnutrition among tribal women and children. What are all the consequences of changing diet and challenges in consuming the food supplements among the tribal communities. And from Orissa, conservation of on-farm conservation of traditional paddy varieties by a women farmer. Then again, women's collective and vegetable cultivation. Then from Tamil Nadu, one is a malnutrition among Irular, that is PVTG community in Viluppuram district, exclusive story on them. Then terrace garden and urban farming, how women become a kind of an urban farmer. So these 6 stories have been covered during this fellowship. Now we will hear from the fellows how their experience, what was their major learning and challenges they faced in the process. Thank you.
Thank you, Ranga. After listening to Ranga, I think we are all very eager to listen to what the fellows did for, what were their experiences like. So just to give a very brief introduction to the 3 fellows before you actually begin, we have Ms. Neenu Mohan, and she is a staff correspondent with Mathrubhumi, and she is based in Wayanad in Kerala. Then we have Mr. Gyanchand Jagannath, and he's a reporter with Sambandh based in Jaipur. And then we have Ms. Dharani Balasubramaniam, and she's now a Tamil Nadu correspondent for Mirror Now news channel. So I think all 3 of them are versatile journalists committed to writing on development issues. And they're especially looking at turning the spotlight on marginal and rural tribal communities in the 3 states they come from. So I think first off, we will have Neenu. Neenu, are you ready to share your screen? Yeah, so that is Neenu there. Can you turn your mic on, Neenu? You're on mute.
Hello, I'm audible? Hello?
Yeah. Yes, very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. I think I need to share my screen. Hello?
Yeah, no, we cannot able to see your screen. Can you click share screen below?
Okay. Okay.
Go to your slides and then click share screen.
Okay.
Yeah, right, correct. Now, can you show full screen, please? Go to the presentation mode. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yes, thank you.
Just a second.
Okay, it's visible. Yes, yes.
Some difficulty here. Just a second. Okay. Okay. Now it's ready.
Yes, it's visible.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. It's like I'm Neenu Mohan. I'm a staff correspondent of Mathrubhumi Daily. It's really a pleasure to join a part of this media fellowship program. First of all, the topic itself, like the gender transformative approaches for sustainable food systems, It itself, it's a very interesting topic, and I found there is two major components in this topic. One is sustainable food system, and another one is gender approach. Please, the next slide. The sustainable food system. My understanding is that the sustainable food system is a type of food system that provides healthy food to people and creates sustainable environmental, economic, and social system that surrounded food. I found out the main features include its sustainable agriculture practices. We know it's an era of BT seeds, and it's very important to protect and cultivate our traditional seed varieties. And the other point is like food distribution, sustainable food distribution systems. Here I wish to quote Mahatma Gandhi. His famous quote is like that: "There is enough on earth for everybody's need, but not enough for everybody's greed." We know in food distribution system, we're supposed to focus on without any class or caste or place differences. The food should be reach to everyone. That is my focus on that food distribution system. And sustainable diet is also understandable. Reduction of food waste is also understandable. Next slide, please. Hello. The next slide, please. Okay. The other major feature in this topic is like the gender roles. Gender role in food system. Like women produce approximately 60 to 80% of food in the world, and they represent 20% of agricultural labor force. They produce, process, and prepare the majority. Whatever the achievements we done in food security, like the sustainable food security, or the negative part of it, it affects women because ours is in like male-oriented society. So naturally, it will work like that. We all know that. Okay. So when talk about my stories, the next slide, please. Okay. This is the one story. Here in this story, I was focused on the tribal children and the malnutrition thing. We all know Kerala is an example for good health indicators. But whenever we talk about the tribes, the indicators is always, or the data is always doubtful for me. So here in the story, I think I can prove that the tribal children are under malnutrition. In Wayanad's case, there is a nutrition rehabilitation center is run by government because it's Wayanad is in tribal populated area. So the major two districts are tribal populated in Kerala. One is Wayanad and another one is Palakkad Attapadi. So in these two districts, government runs a nutritional rehabilitation center. In Wayanad's case, nutrition rehabilitations they are admitted around around 60 children in the last 3-4 months, and within that 47 are tribal children, and within that 47 children, almost every child is like coming from Pania or Katanaika community. That was an alarming thing. So what may lead them to the malnutrition? The first thing is like the mother's health, like anemia in adolescent and pregnant women, and malnutrition, early pregnancy. These all lead to the underweight childbirth. And the second thing is like they're changing the food basket. We know the tribal food basket is totally changed or totally collapsed in these days. In case of Pania, their food basket is basically it's focused on paddy fields. And then the Katanaika's case, it's like the forest is there. Forest is the main source of food for them, like the wild honey, some wild fruits, or some kind of wild animals. That's their food basket. But nowadays it's completely changed. But they can't replace it with sufficient nutritious food. The government's public distribution system or with the nutrition supplements which are given through Anganwadis are all total failure in this era, because they are okay. It will reach them. These supplement foods are reaching to the tribes, but they are not using it. Because it's never a part of their
Nino, we are not able to hear you.
The food, I already point out and given subheading to this story that Amritam powder, it was given through the Anganwadis for these children, but they never used it. It is just, they just kept it like that. So what we need here is to, we need an joint intervention from different government departments like the tribal department, healthcare, ICDS, and some social workers are really needed to intervene here. And we supposed to admit the tribal food varieties and supposed to include it in our public distribution system. That is one solution I'm recommending for this. Okay, then. Hello.
Next slide. Yeah.
I think. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is another story. I was really happy to done this story because Basa is an example for what's supposed to be a sustainable food production. Basa is a bakery products unit. It's a small scale industrial bakery products unit. It's an initiative from farmers, farmers from a very small rural village called Trikaipeta in Wayanad. They made cookies and cakes. Basically, their ingredients are really lovable because jackfruit, pepper, ginger, curry leaves, and bamboo rice are their major ingredients. Like very localized ingredients, and they're in a very healthy way. They cooked it in, or they make it in a very healthy way. For their cakes and cookies, they never use maida. Instead, they use jackfruit powder. So the health is there. Women's participation is also there because I told it's a farmers initiatives. One among the director is a woman, and all the employees, unless one man is there, okay, all other employees are women. So it was a big example of how gender is also playing a key role in it. And another point is like reduction of food waste because jackfruit, we know it's a seasonal thing. When in Kerala, the season is up, we know lots of them getting wasted, but they just really, through this value adding procedure, they just kept it and really utilizing it. So I wish to show Baza as an example for what we can do in this current times, like in sustainable food production. That's it. Okay, next. Stories. So the next thing I wish to talk about, like MSSRF as a mentor, how it's really helpful me. So it's like for me, it's a long journey. It's like I was in 10 years career in journalism, but this is the first time I was applying for a media fellowship. It's just because it's from MSSRF. Because my earlier experiences and throughout my media fellowship experiences, MSSRF is really supporting. It's really working as a mentor. It's always providing me. Because like guidance and introducing new topics. Like we all know certain topics, but this tribal food basket issues, sustainability itself, and some other projects also. I'm associated with some other groups to MSSRF, like the tribal education, or in Wayanad's case, like wildlife stories. I always looking for what's MSSRF opinions to it. Like I depending MSSRF as a data source and for expert opinions always. Like in as an example, the foreign species, like environmental problems created by the foreign species. I always took some expert opinion from MSSRF scientists. Data source, I'm using its MSSRF library for it. And like after this fellowship, or after completing my stories also, whatever I publish with a byline in my newspapers, someone from MSSRF called me and give me suggestions. Yeah, your that stories was good, or you keep it up. This way you can go. Like that kind of suggestions are always getting from MSSRF. So it's really nice to be a part of this journey. Thank you. Next one. So throughout the fellowship, you may be asked what is the next or what is my future plans for it. It's always about the follow-ups of stories and more stories, on even these topics also. Like while doing the Basa story, it helped me to get an understanding of what the agro-based small-scale industries in Wayanad and its possibilities and its challenges do. Even after the Basa story, I already done an major work over this agro-based industries in Wayanad, and I get an good even the industrial minister of Kerala, P. Rajiv, also show some interest around that story, and even the tribal stories case. I'm planning to do more deep-rooted stories over the Baniya tribe, their health indicators, their alcoholic consumption, and the other difficulties faced by them. That are my future plans. And add to this, the fellowship is really at some scientific approach to my studies, like how to gather and sorting the data, especially the scientific data, or field studies, how to done field studies a little more like authentic, scientifically, and of course the expert opinions is always there. So it's all visible in my current works also, and it's really nice journey with this fellowship and MSSR. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Nino.
Yes, it's already done. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So we'll have next Jagannath. Are you ready with your presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you share your screen?
How to
Go to your slides, and then you can click share screen, and your screen will, your PPT will open up. Or do we have this PPT here? Okay, so we will share the screen. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, we have the PowerPoint presentation, so we'll share the screen.
Okay, ma'am.
You just tell us when to move to the next slide. Is that okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, sir, Jagannath, you can start.
Namaskar. Good afternoon, all of you. Myself, Gyanchan Jagannath from Jaipur, Koraput, Odisha. I working in the Sambat newspaper in Jaipur city. My topic is the gender transparency approaches and having sustainable food system. Natural. Next slide, ma'am.
Next slide.
Next slide, ma'am.
You want us to move to the next slide? This is the second slide. You want third or second?
Third, ma'am.
Third slide. Okay.
Gender in the agriculture, the food security. Gender transparency approaches are essential the achievement food security, improve the nutrition of sustainable agriculture development. GT address the underline the social norms, attitude, behavior, and reduces gender inequality of challenging the unequal power relations and the traditional lesson gender role the responsibility. Ma'am, most GTA also targeted traditional leaders of religious leader, the other norms of holder, decision make within formal, informal institution. Then foster equality of the participation. While the men do the tilling, the harvesting, women play the major role in the agriculture, weeding the harvesting and carrying the grain. The support women of economic advancement. The government giving a priority to the women providing loan and subsidy to women. Other sector include the agriculture, farming under the mission power, making the selling and various product. Promote the gender equality to the market driven the solution. While earlier women used to trash paddy by hand, now the trashing is done by the machine. The paddy can be caught by harvest machine while using the traditional stone grinder, etc. The pack the various material, now the meal work in the convenient. Promote the gender equality the market driven the solution. Nowadays the men and women are seen in the same field. Now men and women work together to solve the problem together. just a man trading, so are a woman. Women play the important role in the earning the product at the market. Design include the benefit is sharing the machines, include the man and define the problem that solution. Next slide, please.
Next slide.
Gender and the nutrition, social, economic, and inequality of the between men and women estimate the effect of malnutrition of the women and girls. While the men used the take food first in the house, the women used the eat what remainder after the house. Meal were the nutricide, the while female are the unnutricide. Then women changed the cultivation at the preparing food, but often they have limited the information nutrition. They are growing to all kind of the vegetable like sajana, millet, banana, but they have no idea about the nutrition and them. Women are the have less access to men the financial resources leading the poor security. In the man society, men always the boys given the priority the what meal the serve. Women require 2.5 more diet in the man. Next slide, ma'am. Gender transformative, the root cause inequality of the address the head, role and responsibility. Women are the responsible for the all member of the household, from cooking at home, taking children and the cleaning and home environment. Access to the control over the resources, money and the land over the control of the men. But now women are depositing the money their own account, and the land are the own name. Then duty barriers, principle and morals. As the compared to men, women are used to work from to day to night, be it in agriculture employment. After the women participate in the employment, men are also supporting the women. So that work is the shared among the gender. Then participation of the decision making. Women from the groups of make decision about their own work. Women they're given priority to the political field. Women are given opportunity to participate in the various meeting. The activity participate of the women financial matter, then they was though together liberate in the control onward the wastage of the air money. Then gender norms value the practices. Next slide, ma'am. Individual gender transformative approaches level in three types: the individual and the group community and the industrial. Transformative equality the related the power relation, traditional and the socio-cultural norm of the order improve the household nation. Farming as the family business, the addressing the key accept the of gender inequality at the household level. Group communities the integrated the gender transformative capacity building, model for the food security and nutritional transmission, social structure of the relation community level. Industrial the improve the gender equality, the women economic empowerment in outer the grower schemes. Next slide, ma'am. My topic the conservation. My topic is the conservation the traditional variety of the Tulasa Giuria. Earlier the men dominated the conserved the seeds, extend the area, sold the seed the financial power of the him. When the MSSRF implement the to be the biodiversity project, both the men and women participate in the program. Women farmer like Padmasri, Kalmala Pujari, Tulasi Giuria, and Raimati Giuria conserve the natural paddy falls and the millet variety. Undivided Koraput district reach as a variety indicates of crops. So local farmer conservated indigenous seeds for the year. Mr. Tulasa Giuria, Mrs. Tulasa Giuria is a successful tribal woman farmer Nuaguda under Kundura block, Koraput district. She is cultivating traditional variety of the all crops since long a part of the prairie conservation of the cultivation. Tulasa has become a source of inspiration for the other poultry farming and the species production previously. His father-in-law Tulasa conservated the traditional variety. Now she is conservated more than 70 type of paddy and 12 types of variety of millet variety. Tulasa is not only interested using the hybrid seeds, chemical fertilizer, and the pesticides. She is applying the biocompost, rotten the cow dung and organic manners, and he is preparing the biocompost organic manure in his Jiva Mritu. She established the natural garden, and he also cultivated the own composition of the soil, the market. She also dug a pond MSRF under the integrated farming system, various like vegetable, banana, katia, paipa, dung splits, sales, tomato, all types of the vegetable. And she also rearing the goatry poultry farm in the more than 30 sheep and 40 chicks. Tulasa daughter-in-law Raimati Giuria in cultivating one
Jagannath, your audio is not.
the party sir visited the observation and millet the cultivation. In the additional, Raimati Giuria has been awarded the state level field in the millet cultivation. My next topic is the vegetable the cultivation in the group community at a Birakhamba SSG Atlaguda by Pariguda. Women were the backbone of the society. However, the rural women today been the suffering a lot due to the feeling happiness, lack of decision making, capable of the finance matter. Women belong to low socio-economic groups, generally face financially crisis, fulfill daily their needs from various cycle and financial problems. The SAG group added the various income generating activity to achieve financial self-reliance like goat trading, vegetable cultivation, vending, value addition of the rice. The major of the members SAG group participate the various training program organized by facilitated the promoted MS Swaminathan Research Center Jaipur. As a result of the which women who have never used the step outside while their home became business women. While the men given village cultivate the paddy, the women cultivate the various crop of the integrated land. They also harvesting poles such as moong, bean, black grams, and the other type of vegetable. This Birakhamba Attalguda group is the harvesting more last 5 years applying the cow dung and the to use the Jivamrut Khat. Each member earning the 200 rupees percent per month apart from the Poshan Bagicha, I mean nutrition garden proposed in the garden. They are planning the papaya, domestic, almonds, crats, maize. In this field, they have a buy and sell vegetable outside village of the harvesting. Additional benefit of the per monthly 2,000 to 3,000 per 1 month. They are making the marketing cake, sweet, and different product. This is the my last topic. Now, next slide, ma'am.
Guru, next slide.
News article showcase the understanding, and the audience the see has the read also impacted the belief. This story improved the public understanding the science, environment, and the green issue. A better understanding if the how news stories impacted the free choice of the learn different audience type, the media types, examination, evaluation of story, timing, explaining. The media include the most important of the known to impact the story by the reporter. By the reporter should be develop the noise for the news so that news can motivate the desired the authority of the work. The principle of the news value to journalist balance to the reporters, the source, the science literacy divide the coverage, the depth, farming, and accuracy of the environment science stories. Next slide, ma'am. Use the knowledge of the gain MSRF scientist moment the examine the how the field beside the MSRF Mr. Swaminathan Research Center has been developed the various technology and the instrument about the livelihood, nutrition, and health involving women farming, SHG group, FFO, food production of like the nutrition garden, mushroom cultivation, millet cultivation, goatry cultivation, and poultry, biocomposting, Jivamitra, and MSSRF scientists met the village level ladder marginal farmer SHG group member custodian farmers organized the focus group of discussion and village level meeting. They were expressed the knowledge of the biodiversity, climate change, gender approach, the agriculture activity. I learned about the information, the gender approach meant them. Next slide, ma'am. The three keys of the my philosophy, the experience, again that I express the again that greater the knowledge, the experience, and the interested how to tribal women conserving the rice and millet land as the year after the marvelous. Gain the knowledge of the women empowered themselves and obtain the economic the benefit forming women self-help the group of the various vexel. Third point is the gain the knowledge how to women are going to vegetable cultivation, raising the mushroom, goat and poultry, rearing the
Next slide. That's all.
I express that my view the different of journalist after the article in newspaper were the published. Whenever I meet the media friends, I discuss them on my experience during the fellowship. After my article was published and conservation of the traditional seeds variety by Tilosa Guria, printed on the electronic media also published the article on their media. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Jagannath. Can we have Dharni? Dharni?
Am I audible?
Yeah. Now you're audible. Can you just share your screen, please? Now you muted yourself again. You're on mute. Unmute, please.
Can you
Dharni,
hear me?
yeah, now we can hear you.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I think we have control over the presentation. So you just tell us when to move from slide to slide.
All right. Okay. So myself, Dharni Balasubramaniam. So I was chosen from Tamil Nadu for the MSMF Fellowship for the 2021.
Dharni, is there background noise coming from your side? You sitting in a...
Might be, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, good.
No, they're talking. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, carry on.
Yeah. So myself, Dharni Balasubramaniam. So I was chosen by MSMF for the year 2021 from Tamil Nadu. So currently I'm working for Times Network, that is the Mirror Now as Tamil Nadu correspondent. So can we move to the second slide, ma'am?
Yes, next slide. Dharni, are you sharing this next slide?
Oh, yeah, okay, I myself. Yeah, okay. So this is my. So I published 2 news articles under the topic Gender Transformative Approaches for Sustainable Food Systems as part of this fellowship. So I would like to specifically talk about my 2 articles more rather than like general facts. So first of all, through this fellowship, I have to tell that thank you for the people at MSSRF that I got a very good understanding about the sustainable food systems, especially what gender has to play in it. So I got a better understanding about that topic because if not for this fellowship, maybe it might have taken some time for me to move into that topic. But right now I'm kind of having a good understanding about it, and thanks for the MSR of experts and scientists for that purpose. So my first article, it was about irregular women and children from the district of Viluppuram in Tamil Nadu. So I traveled to Viluppuram multiple times to meet the people from a couple of hamlets, irregular hamlets in Viluppuram. So my article explains the economic and social issues that are restricting the women and children of irregular community from accessing nutritious food. So I would like to point out two or three issues mainly as part of this presentation. So firstly, the rural women from the hamlets that I went. So they're having a lot of social and economic issues that are like kind of restricting them from accessing nutritious food and clean drinking water. For example, when I went to a hamlet, when I visited one of the hamlets, none of the men were present. So they had gone to different cities, the nearby districts, to to earn money. So only the women were present. Women and children were present, at the location. So these women, they told me that they'll be having jobs only for almost 3 months a year. So for the rest 9 months, they'll be kind of idle because they'll not have any jobs in the nearby villages. These women, they are not allowed by their husband to travel afar, so they have to go to the nearby farm fields only to work. So they only have jobs for approximately 3 months a year, and that makes them kind of very economically that puts them in a very bad situation as far as economy is concerned. Yeah. So also these women, they also told me that they have to walk 100 kilometers to access clean drinking water. I mean, that's clean or not is secondary, but to even access drinking water, they have to walk 100 kilometers daily with the pots in their hands. Okay, and that too, they have to go to the main village. This hamlet is located in a remote part of the village, so they have to walk to the main village in Muttanampalayam. So the main village has a lot of dominant caste people, dominant community people. So these irregular women and children, they have to wait for almost 1 or 2 hours before all these dominant community people fetch water from the government installed taps there. So if these people are trying to fetch water beforehand, then they'll be kind of abused verbally, and they will not be allowed to fetch water from the next day. So this is a kind of a social issue that they're facing to even access drinking water. So the second thing is that most of these families, they do not own a ration card, and some of these families, they are telling that they're not even having an Aadhaar card in their hand. So since they're let's talk about ration card firstly. Yeah. So since they do not have a ration card, they are not able to access the subsidies and the basic food materials that are provided by the government for free. And until 1 year back, none of the families were actually having any ration cards, and one NGO. So they kind of spoke to the government officials, and around 10 or 11 families got the ration cards now, and the rest of the families, around 15 to 20 families, they do not own a ration card still now. So what they do is that they are paying 6 or 7 rupees for each kilogram of rice to the dominant community people. I mean, dominant community people, they'll be having their own ration cards, right? So they buy rice from their ration cards, and they are selling it to the rural families for money. So they are literally selling it to the rural families for for 1 kg of rice is being sold for 6 to 7 rupees to them. So this is kind of again restricting them from kind of accessing the basic food materials that are provided by the government to everyone for free. So this is even a task. This is even is being like a task for them. So this is the second thing. And apart from that, when we talk about Anganwadis in the area, the Anganwadi that was functioning in this Muttanampalayam village, that did not have a helper. So every Anganwadi will have a cook under a team.
Dharni, we lost audio. Dharni?
She is occupied with both the duties, so she is not able to reach out to this this rural or the tribal hamlets to convince the families here to send their children to the schools and Anganwadi centers. And the teacher, she told me that for the past 1.5 years, she did not have a cook with her, and she's both cooking for the students and she's also teaching the students. So there is again a systemic flaw here that is restricting the children from accessing the government provided Anganwadi food, the small children. So these are some of the issues that I have addressed in my article. So when I spoke to experts, especially from people from MSSRF, they gave me some solutions also for this issue. They told that the government should focus the government should have a separate focus geographically rather than coming up with a statewide solution. They told that the problems vary with with districts, with even cities. Okay, I mean rulers who are in Viluppuram will not be facing the same problem that rulers who are in Tirunelveli are facing, right? So it will be varying geographically. So the government should also have a geographically individual solutions for all these issues. That is what I've written in my article. So talking about the second story, this is about Sandhya. She's a 29-year-old woman. She is a mechanical engineer, by nature. But she had to quit her job because one of her sons, who was 1 year old at that point in time, he was diagnosed with a heart problem. So when she approached the doctors, and when she was trying to figure out what the reason was, the doctors were kind of telling her that the climate change triggered changes in the food systems that might be one of the causes for her for her son's condition. So she quit her job in the next 6 months, and she started involving herself in organic farming from Mumbai. So she's basically not from a village. She's a native of Coimbatore, but right now she's residing in Mumbai. So initially, she planted the basic vegetables and other green leaves like the spinach, vegetables such as onion, tomato, chilies and all. She planted these kind of basic vegetables and green leaves in her balcony. So that was a success because the balcony farming kind of did good, and the neighbors from the Mumbai apartment. So they also they kind of got interested after seeing what she did. So she also thought whatever she learned herself through the process to other people also, and they also started doing the balcony farming. So after some point, she realized that she should be helping people who are kind of not in a position to do farming themselves. So she leased a land from Tiruvallur district in Tamil Nadu through one of her relatives, and she started cultivating kavani arisi, what we call it as kavani rice, which we say is very healthy. So she started cultivating the rice in the land that she leased in Tiruvallur. Apart from that, she also leased a land in Mumbai, in one of the outskirts of Mumbai, and she started cultivating other millet varieties. So combining all these items, she created a nutrition powder on her own. She spoke to experts from several hospitals, and she also spent months with the local farmers here in Tamil Nadu, especially in the districts of Tiruvallur and Pondicherry, and she learned how this thing works, how organic farming basically works, and she also understood the proportions that need to be mixed up to create a proper nutrition powder. So after learning all this, she created a nutrition powder on her own that she is providing for free to hundreds of patients, especially children who are under medication in various hospitals in Mumbai. So that she is doing it for free, and apart from that, she is also visiting several hospitals and several educational institutions to give motivational videos. Motivational videos in the sense to talk about organic farming and how organic farming can be done in urban spaces, because of course we would have come across a lot of organic farming being done in village spaces because we have a lot of land there. But when it comes to urban spaces, there is a restriction as far as the land space is concerned, because we see nowadays that people are doing farming in balconies, terraces and all. So there is of course a restriction when it comes to land space. So she of course teaches whatever she learned through this journey for the past few years to other people also through webinars and other lectures. So I did a profiling article about her, about her journey, and about the nutrition mix that she has created, and providing it free to other people under medication. So this is my second article. Next slide. Please.
You are controlling your slides.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. I'm sorry. Yeah. So the other two people, Nino Morgan and Gyanchan, they are like print reporters. They work for newspapers, but I'm a television reporter. And I have to mention that when I started this fellowship, like when this fellowship came to me, I was working with Pudhiya Talamurai, which is one of the leading Tamil news channels. I was a television reporter then also. Yeah. So it differs, like the way we work differs totally, because television reporters, I believe they have some time on a daily basis to do some research and to meet experts in person, but television works very spontaneously. If we have a news story, that to a breaking news story, then we'll be on the run the whole day. Like we'll be going after political leaders, or we'll be going after the concerned individuals to get an exclusive bite from them, or to get some kind of information out of their mouth, and we'll be like breaking it exclusively on air. And it's kind of very fast and spontaneous. So I don't get a lot of time to usually to do research oriented human interest stories, because and moreover a lot of television channels, to be honest, they are not interested in that stuff either. They want things that have some kind of masala, and they want things that are fast and that has some kind of attraction towards the viewers. So as a television reporter, I don't usually report a lot of research oriented human interest stories, and I also don't get to write because in television the writing is very less. Like we'll just put 5 to 6 key points about a news in our WhatsApp group, and then it comes in the television and we talk with the mic in our hand. So it's more of talking rather than writing. But this fellowship gave me an opportunity to do both, because I did 2 research oriented human interest stories, and also I wrote, after a long time I wrote some articles that got published. So personally also this is a very a gratifying experience for me. So yeah, mentorship from MSSRF. So these are the 3 people. I forgot to add Oliver sir. I'm sorry. So these are the 4 people I was constantly in touch with. That is Rangalakshmi ma'am, Availability ma'am, Kavita ma'am, and Oliver sir. Yeah, so the thing is like this is my first fellowship. So I've never applied for a fellowship in the first place. So this is the first fellowship that I applied, and I'm really grateful and happy that I got it and I've completed it. So these 4 people, they made sure that I don't feel this nervousness, or I don't feel this helplessness. Yeah. So we had this regular discussion meets through Zoom or through conference calls, and every idea and every idea that I that was trying to put in my article, they will like elaborately discussed and analyzed before they were converted into words in articles. And apart from that, the thing is like as I told like before this fellowship, I did not have a very good understanding about this topic. A very good understanding in the sense like I never wrote or reported on this topic, to be precise. I'm a very young reporter. It's just been 2 years since I entered the field. So I never reported on sustainable food systems or what role gender has to play in it. So I was very new to this topic, and I of course did not have a lot of contacts in this field. But these 4 people, they helped me with the contacts, because whenever I had a doubt about something, either they cleared it themselves or they referred me to some other expert from the field who cleared it. Yeah, so they helped me with a lot of contacts also. So it felt very easy with the team, because all through this process, it's been almost 1 year since this fellowship started, but never at a point I felt kind of nervousness or helplessness, because the team was totally helpful, and they were available 24/7. If you have a doubt at 8 p.m. in the night, or you have a doubt at 9 p.m. in the night, you can contact them and they'll be ready to solve it for you. So that is how they were. So very happy and grateful that I was mentored by these kind of geniuses as part of this fellowship. So I will definitely cherish these memories, and even in the future also, if there is a need for me to consult with an expert in relation to any topics about food, I'll definitely approach you people. Yeah. So key takeaways. So there are a lot of takeaways, but I just mentioned 4. These are the 4 main takeaways actually. So one is that I did not know how a fellowship works, because before getting into this fellowship, of course, like I use a lot of social media platforms, especially Twitter. So I would come across a lot of journalists posting about their fellowship experiences. Like they would be writing that I completed this fellowship, that I got this fellowship, and I'm learning I'm learning this thing as part of this fellowship. So I would be like looking at all those tweets and posts, and I would be thinking or wondering how fellowships generally work. So this is my first fellowship, the first ever fellowship I applied and I got. So I was kind of I'm really happy about it, and this particular journey for the past 1 year, it helped me understand how a fellowship normally works, like how a media fellowship basically fundamentally works. So I got that understanding. Maybe if I'm applying for a fellowship in the upcoming months, then I'll be having a better idea about how this works. Yeah. So the second one is I gained a considerable knowledge about sustainable food systems. As I told already that I was no expert in this field. I haven't reported about any of these topics earlier as part of my reporting career. So this gave me some a good insight about what it is and how it works. So that is something. So apart from that, I travel to places I've never been, I've never gone before. So for example, this Vilpuram, I've never gone to a rural hamlet before this, because in television we are restricted to our districts. Like we cannot travel beyond our districts. For example, I'm a reporter from Chennai. I'm based in Chennai, so I don't get to move out of Chennai for reporting other district stories. But this fellowship gave me an opportunity to travel to Vilpuram and meet the rural community people there. So that is something that I cherish. The vulnerable sections of the society that I mentioned is the rural women and children. So of course I witnessed their struggle in person. So the days I went there, a couple of times I went there, whatever I mentioned in the article, whatever the issues I've mentioned in my article, I witnessed them in person, like directly, and that is why I was able to write them in the article. So apart from that, gain some good contacts with experts in the field. Of course, as I told, like this topic is like totally new to me, and I had no contacts like when I entered this fellowship. But the mentors, they made sure that I'm carrying some good contacts. So I'm hoping that even after this fellowship, I'll be constantly in touch with them, and talk to them for my future upcoming stories about food too, yeah, food systems too, yeah. So of course, I shared my insights about this fellowship to a lot of reporters here, especially television reporters, because I don't get to meet a lot of print reporters in person these days. I don't know why. So I shared it with a lot of television reporters, and a lot of people they expressed interest in applying for this year's fellowship. In fact, they told me that whenever the applications are open, they've told me to notify so that they can apply. Yeah, that's all, ma'am.
Thanks, Dharni, for a very passionate presentation. So I think we are a little behind schedule, and I think Professor Swaminathan has joined us online. So Professor Swaminathan, I think he was really keen on this fellowship presentations today, and he somehow made it, and he wants to, I don't know if he's would be talking, but yeah, he is joined online. So welcome, Professor. So I think we are quite behind schedule. Let's have the mentors. So we have Dr. Murli Shanmugavelan here, and also Ms. Anupama Srinivasan. Dr. Nalini has expressed that she's unwell and will not be able to make it. Dharni, can you mute your mic, please? Yeah. Can we have Dr. Murli and Ms. Anupama? Are you online?
I'm here, Sangeeta. Anupama here.
You want to kick off then? I don't know whether Dr. Murli is here, but probably you can kick off
Sure.
from your
Can
perspective.
you hear me well, Sangeeta?
Pardon me? Yes, very well.
You can hear me?
Yes, please.
All right, thank you. So good afternoon, everyone, and I'll be quick. I'm aware that there are a lot of people to speak. I just want to begin on a personal note, just to say that it's such an incredible privilege to be part of, in a very
Anupama, we've lost audio. No, she's unmuted only.
I think I really want to congratulate you for the diverse stories that you were able to produce. It was such a joy listening to your presentations, and I think really seeing that in any fellowship program, and REACH has been working with journalists and on tuberculosis and public health reporting for 12 years. And what we look for in any fellowship program is that a journalist must walk away feeling like they've gained knowledge and they've gained skills. And in this case, it was so evident that all three of you have been able to do exactly that. And I think you've acquired not just a deeper understanding about gender and food systems, but also skill sets in terms of the kinds of people to speak to, engaging with data. So going beyond conceptual understanding of some of these aspects. So really want to once again congratulate and thank you for your sincerity. And I think as all of you mentioned, we really hope that this will spark interest in your peers and colleagues to report more on development issues in general, but also issues that intersect between health and gender and agriculture and food security, all of which are issues we all need to, on an everyday basis, learn more about and understand better. And one of the best ways to do that is through high quality reporting and journalism that we can access. Finally, I just want to end by really congratulating the entire MSSRF team first for, I think, the vision behind this fellowship program. Investing in the media, I personally believe, is really important. We need to create spaces and opportunities for journalists to write about these complex issues. And if there's one thing we have learned, it's that there is so much interest and willingness among journalists to learn. And I think we are very quick to criticize the media very often in general. But what is important is that we equip journalists with the knowledge and with the opportunities. And this is not just about financial incentives, it's also about access to people, access to information. And I think that's exactly what this fellowship program has been able to do. And so I really want to congratulate the entire MSSRF team. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be a very small part of this program, and really hope we can keep taking this forward and improving media reporting on these incredibly important issues. Thank you so much. Back to you, Sangeeta.
Yeah, thank you, Anupama. We can't see Dr. Murli online. So throwback. Okay, I don't think he's there. So I think we'll go to our special guest, Dr. Arbinda Padi. He's the IAS officer and principal secretary, Department of Agriculture and Food Production with the government of Odisha. And despite his busy schedule and even now as running late, he's been very understanding and has been there from the very beginning of the program. Thank you so much, Dr. Padi, and welcome to this event. And we'd like to hear from you, sir.
Thank you, Sangeeta ji. Professor Nitya Rao, Dr. Hariharan, Dr. Renga Lakshmi, and other members of the entire MSSRF family, to you, Ms. Sangeeta Rajesh, and all the Madam Mina Swaminathan Media Fellows and their mentors, and ladies and gentlemen. And I'm super excited that Professor M.S. Swaminathan sir has also joined the event, as was informed by Sangeeta ji a while ago. Really, that makes me very proud. At the outset, I would like to thank the M.S. Swaminathan Research Foundation for the commendable work being done by them. I take this as a proud opportunity to share my perspectives on rural reporting, especially on the development issues. Sangeeta ji has given me the template to speak on 4 topics: the responsible reporting, gender and food systems, and science-based evidence in journalistic work, and then on the International Year of Millets. So I would be brief for the next 8 to 10 minutes. On the responsible reporting, many of you would recall, those of you who are in the journalistic field, that a decade ago, P. Sainath, the eminent journalist, he lamented that there are a smaller number of journalists covering the rural India and the agrarian crisis than a fashion week in Delhi or Mumbai. He also lamented that very few media houses have dedicated bits for rural and labor sectors. So if media houses lack correspondence on these 2 bits, then they are basically ignoring about 70% of the population, people in the country. Luckily, the situation is changing with new rural media outlets like the Gaon Connection and Pari Network. I can name a few. Rural journalism is seeing a new lease of life. In fact, with the mobile applications and the social media outreach, citizen journalism is also picking up. Rural India is a melting pot of uniqueness, both in its beauty and challenges. The term rural journalism is broadly covering journalism that addresses issues in the rural pockets in India, and the rural pockets by journalists can contribute massively to development in Indian rural areas, and they can lead to a governments taking notice of the situation and reaching out with helps to these particular areas. As a policymaker, we often face a difficult situation. We need information on the field realities to make our interventions more meaningful. But at the same time, it is often the case that when we inquire about the media reports of certain event, increasingly we find that there is a quite bit of overlap between truth and fiction. I'm not casting aspersions, but then in reality, at times, we kind of face this kind of a situation. So this often discourages policymakers and make them very defensive, as you would have noticed in many instances. So more than ever, there is a need for journalists who present facts and views of all the sides of the story and give a very balanced perspective. This will make the policymakers more amenable to taking the stories that are critical of their interventions seriously. I will speak about the gender and food systems. Professor Nitya Rao and many others experts are there in this particular field. Even though women play an intrinsic role in the food system, there is lack of adequate recognition for the rights of women. In fact, all the media fellows, they talked about this particular aspect. For a long time, women farmers, as you know, are not formally recognized in the system. In fact, the Swaminathan committee report also has recommended to recognition of the women farmers in the policy space, but sadly they have not been done to the fullest scale. And land often remained in the name of the men. As we know, this meant that the access to credit and other necessary requirements for farming were denied for the women in the workforce. There is also well-established body of evidence about the gender differentiated access to or the ownership of assets. Jagannath was telling in his presentation some time back, and the information services, the credit, there is some kind of mismatch there. And research also shows that obligations on women's time shape access to the information, and also the gender norms around the unpaid labor responsibilities such as the child care, restrictive women's ability to seek out information and participate in agricultural extension also is there. So these considerations are very crucial for the success of innovations to transform our food systems. So let me also say that if humanity has to survive, it is extremely important that it radically reshapes the current food systems framework. That also necessarily means that there is a need of drastic revision of the gendered roles in the farm households. Hence, it is extremely important that the young journalists like the three those of them who made the presentation, Ninu, Dharani, and Gyanchand, Jagannath, and many others to take cognizance of this, and they should focus on the areas of gender and the food systems. I'd just like to speak a little bit about the science-based evidence in the journalistic work. World, as we know, is very complex, and often many matters which are scientific in nature are not easy to grasp. In fact, one can argue that the arcane or the very cryptic way of writing academic papers can be one of the reasons there. But even when simplified to make science reach common man, the common people in the manner they understand is one of the most important duties of the journalists there. In addition to communicating the complex matters, it is also important to dispel the irrational claims and approaches that are often prevalent in the society. Given the social media now we see every day, such notions can travel very fast. So we have to be very careful. And if they are not dispelled, they would not only perpetuate them, but also can cause active harm in the field. So journalists of today, they have to simplify scientific facts and disseminate them to bring scientific temper among the common people. Now let me come to the International Year of Millets. Everybody is talking about it. This being a very informed audience, I presume that all of us know that 2023 has been declared as the International Year of Millets by the United Nations. In fact, motion for this declaration was moved by India. I am very proud to say that I was involved in this process in my previous job as the country director for ICRISAT. As some of you would know, millets are ancient grains, crops, and are often termed Adi Anna, or the ancient grains. These wonder grains need very less amount of water, in fact, 1/3 of water when we compare with the requirements of paddy. And on an average, they are about 3 to 5 times more nutritious than other crops in terms of micronutrients. I mean, for example, the finger millets, they have 30 times more calcium than rice. Little millet or suwa, as we know in Koraput and adjoining parts, they have 14 times more iron, and so on and so forth. So these humble crops, as I call them, they need very fewer chemical inputs and they have the capacity to mitigate the climate change. They can also manage our natural resources and reduce fertilizer burden and improve nutrition. My state, Odisha, has been a forerunner in the promotion of millets. We have adopted a folk to farm approach, wherein we work from increasing the consumption at household level, setting up decentralized processing units to reduce drudgery, improving productivity through scientific package of practices for all these millet crops, and conservation and promotion of land races. Jagannath mentioned about our women custodian farmers, Raimati, and many others in Koraput, aggregation and marketing through the POs and the women self-help groups, the Mission Shakti groups, and the inclusion of millets in government delivery channels like ICDS, MDM, and PDS. In fact, I am proud to say here to this informed audience that we have a very organized setup of procuring the millets produced by the tribal farmers and other marginal farmers in various districts, and we also distribute through the public distribution system under the NFSA. Odisha, as I told, has been a forerunner in promotion of millets, and we have received many accolades thanks to the vision and commitment of our Honorable Chief Minister. The Odisha Millets Mission activities have now been extended for another 5 years, and it is now scaled up from the existing 19 districts to all the 30 districts of the state. So in the run-up to the International Year of Millets, our focus is on linking millets and SDGs, analyzing every aspect of the millets mission to make it more gender sensitive, documentation and promotion of tribal millet food cultures, and celebration of millets, and also various sports, especially hockey together. Many of you would might know that Odisha is hosting the World Cup hockey this coming January, in January 2023. In addition, we aim to also cover all the Gram Panchayats with many awareness campaigns through the women self-help groups and the PRI members, urban internships covering all the tier 2 and tier 3 cities of Odisha, millet events in various schools, colleges, malls, and other locations in the state, and so on and so forth. We are driving a very huge awareness campaign across the state. We would also be organizing an international convention on millets in November 2023. In fact, 10th of November this year, we celebrated the first ever Millets Divas, or the Mandya Divas, as we know in Odia, just this early this month. We encourage more young journalists to engage with millets. In fact, their importance, and they should kind of take this message of the importance of millets and its cultural linkages, and they should become a part of the journey of transforming food systems. Those of you young journalist friends, if you are interested, I urge and invite you to please be a proud part in our farmer-facing rural development initiatives. I once again thank the MSSRF for this beautiful opportunity. I feel privileged and honored to speak today. And just to let the audience know that I also studied in the Indian Agricultural Research Institute. So you can imagine my respect and love for Professor Swaminathan and the foundation. Thanks once again to each one of you.
Dr. Paddy, for your wonderful words of wisdom and for your patience as well. And we'd like to release the 3 insight briefs that we have, sort of drafted after from these different reports that have come out through the 3 media fellows. So I'll invite Dr. Rangalakshmi to just give a very brief information on these insight briefs.
Thank you, Sangeeta. These briefs were developed based on the stories came out from these 3 media fellows. They are focusing on key issues. The site-specific key issues came out from the stories, and the narratives of women during the interview process, and also the best practices they came across while documenting the stories, as well as the challenges the women are facing in the respective stories. And it covers the aspects of recommendations based on the site-specific issues. So the brief cover all these things. The brief will be finalized soon, and it will be shared with the associated stakeholders in the respective states to have a kind of an interventions which is possible to take the initiative forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rangalakshmi. We now have Mr. Panir Selvam, and Mr. Panir Selvam is a fellow at the Center for Study in Public Sphere with the Roja Muthiah Library. He is also the former ombudsman of the Hindu Group of Publications, and he will give us his perspective, or the perspective from the media side. Mr. Panir Selvam.
Good evening. Thank you, friends. Journalism generally travels on 2 tracks. One track is called bearing witness. Another track is called making sense. Therefore, as a reporter, you generally bear witness. and as an analyst or as an edit page writer, you try to make sense. Where good journalism package is trying to go on these two tracks, bearing witness and making sense. And during this, the key aspect we have been taught is the balance. Balance is what is in public interest and what public is interested in. Because we can't focus only on public interest, because if the public is not interested in that, public interest is not going to work. And if you're going to look only at what public is interested in, you can become a gossip magazine. Therefore, this balance is the one which drives the media. And especially after 1991, after liberalization, the type of pressure Indian media has gone through is to retain this balance. This retaining the balance becomes a major issue because there's a market pressure, there is a generational pressure, and there is a pressure which is happening due to the changes in the devices. When we started journalism, we used to talk about digital divide, but with the spread of the digital devices, handheld devices, the digital divide is no longer technological one. The digital divide is something else. Now everybody has access, but that access does not mean quality information. And the key important development today is that quality information has become premium and disinformation has become cheap. Therefore, the most credible information today we get is from a publication like, say, Financial Times, and it is behind paywall. And whatever is outside the paywall and which is easily accessible are either disinformation or zero value. Given this reality, how are we going to negotiate our information space? That is the big challenge, because till the development called Arab Spring, we thought that the digital space is going to help us in addressing these issues. But post Arab Spring, what we are witnessing is that digital space is also becoming the space for disinformation campaign. And digital space is also an extremely centralized idea. The idea of digital space as a decentralized multinodal one, which was the imagination for the World Wide Web, was completely subverted by the takeover of the Silicon Valley giants. And the Silicon Valley giants have actually reduced the digital platforms into an extremely centralized platform and have given the levers to the state. State can switch it on or switch it off at its will. And we saw it happening in Kashmir after the abrogation of the Article 370. After the abrogation of the Article 370, net was switched off, which means this idea of new digital reality is that it's posing much bigger problem of A, centralization, B, instead of plurality, there is only proliferation. There is no fun in having 700 cameras focusing on a same person rather than getting 3 or 4 different viewpoints. What we are witnessing today is not plurality of media, but proliferation of media. You can have about 700 platforms, but all the 700 platforms carry the same thing. The plurality versus proliferation is another issue what we are facing as a journalist, as a citizen. The key element as a citizen we expect from the media is going to give us credible, trustworthy information to make an informed choice. Now the question of credible, trustworthy information, how are we going to get it? That's where the fellowships help, because fellowship helps to narrow this gap between trustworthy information, bearing witness, and making sense. It brings all these 3 elements together, and making this possible is so important because trustworthy information is the only thing which is going to help us make informed choices. I'm so happy that journalists from 3 different languages manages to get into this fellowship. So there's Oriya journalism, there's English, and there is Malayalam. I think we have to recognize Indian journalism as in all the languages, and it's so important to bring journalists from all the languages in, and it's no fun in just looking at urban English-speaking media alone, and it's important to look beyond urban English-speaking media, where I feel that this fellowship program will be of immense help to everybody. Thank you very much for giving me the chance. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Panniselvam. He is a long-time friend of the foundation and is guiding us with the Media Fellowship here at MSSRF. And now invite Dr. Nitya Rao. She is a professor of gender and development at the University of East Anglia and also the MSSRF trustee here, and to give the session remarks. Nitya, over to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sangeeta, and thank you so much, everybody, for the remarks and the deep insights and the passion. And I know that there will be a vote of thanks, but I would really like to thank the 3 media fellows for coming up with very interesting and insightful stories. The group of mentors who have contributed, I think, not just to mentoring, but also to the design of the fellowship, to the initial, to the selection process, the orientation of the fellows, and so on, that what makes for a good media story. And I think both Dr. Padi's remarks and Mr. Panniselvam's remarks are really very important here, that, you know, the media has often become reporting between sort of mix of fact and fiction, or rather a proliferation of or disinformation campaigns, rather than bringing together science to society. So I thank everybody for your very interesting interventions. And I just wanted to say also, for the benefit of the young media fellows, I think Anupama raised this, but who may not know much about Mina Swaminathan, and actually her passion, not just for gender and gender equality, but also for communicating science in a simple way, which is understandable to common people. And I think she used a range of media, starting with theater. She had the Voicing Silence project, and I'm very happy that Dr. Mangai, who worked with her on the Voicing Silence, has also joined online. So she used theater and drama, but also other kinds of creative approaches, including media spots, 2-minute television advertisements, and so on, to actually bring in a very simple way what are the issues confronting society, but also in particular the gender and development, gender problems which are confronting women's work in agriculture and in rural areas. I think Dr. Panniselvam, you pointed out to the regional languages, and I think this was again a passion of Mina Swaminathan, that we should not only work in English, but to make science more accessible to society, we need to work in regional languages. We need to work in both the media forms and languages that are very much accessible to communities and local people. So Dr. Padi brought up the issue of women farmers and recognition. And I think this has been a big agenda of MSSRF. Professor Swaminathan himself had introduced, when he was Member of Parliament, the Women Farmers Entitlement Bill. And Mina Swaminathan was the one who did all the backwork or the groundwork for that bill, having widespread consultations and so on. Unfortunately, it did not come to be. But I think this whole issue, problem has not gone away. And I think today in India, maybe 60% of agricultural work is actually done by women. And I think more than ever before, we have to continue to struggle to get this recognition, because that's the first step towards ensuring sort of redistribution of resources, movement towards gender equality, representation in decision-making bodies, and so on. And Dr. Padi, of course, Odisha has been a leader in terms of the various programs, Mission Shakti and others, which have tried, the Odisha Millet Mission, which have tried to encourage and recognize women farmers. But this is a model which we really need to spread to other states of the country as well, and other sites. I think the feedback and the session from the media fellows, I would really like to acknowledge. I think it has been very valuable in terms of the kind of support you have received, and I think it will help us plan the media fellowship in an even more streamlined way. for the next year. I would just like to announce that the next year being the International Year of Millets, I think we are planning to focus the Media Fellowship actually on millets, and really not just on the production issues, but also the folklore, the traditional knowledge, the meanings, the medicinal properties. I think Dr. Padhi, your guidance in terms of, the different varieties and the nutrition and the iron and how people understand it, apart, of course, from the issues of production, distribution, and so on. I think bringing in some of the folklore, some of the culture, some of the knowledge around millets will also be very important for the media program for next year. So without further ado, I know we have already crossed the time. So thank you very much, everybody. This has been a great occasion, and congratulations to the MSSRF team, to Ranga, Oliver, Velvari, Kavita, and also Sangeeta and all the other support staff who have made this hybrid event a really very interesting one, which has gone off very well. So thank you, everybody. I'll stop here.
Thank you, Nitya. Thank you, Nitya. So I think we come now to the end of the program, and so I have this privilege to give the vote of thanks for today. And this is a formal vote of thanks. So, and I just want to acknowledge that Ms. Mina Swaminathan was a vibrant personality and who has shaped the foundation's understanding on how to operationalize gender and development as part of the institution's core commitment to a pro-poor, pro-women, and a pro-nature approach. And